Hello and welcome back to the studio. September has been a month of making. Lots of jelly printing and mark making and journaling and painted papers and handmade journals. And I thought it was a good time to kind of share how the season has been inspiring all of this so far. So you know that I love to take my walks in the morning with Charlie, and that has been my main source of inspiration this month. I also go back to old photographs sometimes, and I did that this time because there's a palette that I just wanted to work with again, which is the purples and that, the yellows, the ochres, and that's what you're going to see a lot of, or what you've been seeing a lot of. And I also gathered a few other little bits of inspiration to keep in the studio to kind of keep me focused in this season. So one of the highlights of September has been teaching my paper paint play a fall journal class. And I was just so happy at the end of class with all the beautiful work that my students created, and I thought it would be fun to share some of that as well. Here is my fall journal. I thought it would be fun to share this journal with you. This journal has been a surprise for me because I have worked in ways that I don't normally work in, meaning that I have some things in here that are a little bit more, what's the word? They are not literal, maybe a little bit more literal, but there's also a little bit more drawing in here that I'm used to doing and stuff like that. So this is my fall journal from my class that I taught, And I always like to try to create what I ask my students to create, obviously. And so here it is. So this is my fall journal that I created for this class. And it is inspired again by mostly that purpley yellow color palette and my walks. And you'll see a lot of little leaf motifs here. I've used some older work, like this was a jelly printed piece of muslin, and just a lot of little bits and pieces. And then on the back side, the other side, this is where there's a lot more drawing, which I don't normally do, but here it is. So I thought it would be fun to try out these little themes that I was talking to my students about. So just like mushrooms and animals and birds, harvest moon, pocket. And I always like to include these little bits of color inspo. I thought this looked like kind of like the different stages of the moon in some way. So I thought that was fun to add there. So that is my journal. And then I really love, once it's all opened up, how the pages kind of speak to each other. And then the other side. So why do all of these things matter? Well, first of all, this is a way for me to slow down and be in the season and pay attention to my surroundings and collect what I see and how I'm feeling on all of these little bits of papers. I also feel like these are great ways to have creative warm-ups. So I'm just collecting my marks and I'm collecting my colors and I'm collecting all kinds of different combinations of these things in different ways. Just playing and exploring and seeing what comes up. And I like to experiment with new approaches, like if I make my marks in my journal and I put those together, what would that be like? Just pulling one of those things into a bigger spread, or taking these individual little things and creating like a little swatch library, and how would that look on different kinds of papers, like some jelly printed papers. And it's just a good way to experiment with different techniques. I think one of the biggest things that I get out of doing all of these little exercises is that it gives me momentum, it moves me forward, and then that takes me into a place of creating more layered work in my journals and creating more layered work in my art pieces, which is where this will kind of move towards. So I will be carrying all of these experiments and play into October. I will probably stick to this color palette. I think I'm going to stay with this. I have a few canvases prepped and ready in the back over there for some painting sessions. I will probably be working in my journal some more, maybe incorporating some of these papers or creating layered work. And I'll also be creating more paper pieces in the coming weeks. So stay tuned and we'll see where we get up to. I don't know. We'll find out together. So I hope you have a great weekend, and I will see you next week.